Welcome back to another video, and this is One Piece chapter 1095 review slash read through slash reaction. I gotta get better with these intros, to be honest. So we start out with a bunch of Marines, and they're just kind of running around. Remember after they said Saint Saturn was arriving? Well, they kind of say the same thing, like, yo, Saint Saturn's here, get the fuck out of here. Don't look back, not even a peek. You will not be forgiven if you turn around and like look at him. And a bunch of Marines are like, "Whoa, is that really him?" And they're like lifting up their glasses and like trying to see. And they're like, "I've only seen him in portraits and pictures and stuff." Now one of these guys mentions, "Hey, what's with all the lightning?" Last chapter review, I was like, I don't know if it's Conqueror's Haki or lightning or what the fuck that is, but I guess it is lightning. Now the Marines are like, he's above the celestial dragons. He can command an admiral. Why the hell is he here? Why would someone with such divine powers come and be with us mortals? Now we see some more lightning. It's kind of like reverberating, and we see Saint Saturn's face up close. We cut back to the last scene of the previous chapter where Bonnie just ran up and stabbed Saint Saturn. And we hear Marines and they're like, "Bonnie, you crossed the line. That's Saint Saturn. You just stabbed one of the five elders. What the fuck are you doing?" And they continue and they're like, "She just assaulted one of the world's overseers. You can't do that. All Marines, take aim." They have like their rifles and shit, and they just start like clocking them. And Vegapunk screaming out like, "Bonnie, you need to get the fuck out of there immediately." And we see Saint Saturn's face again, and he has like those like shing, those eyes, where they're kind of glowing. And this is, see, like in the Wikipedia, I read that yokai. It said that they're brutal and they kind of don't give a shit. So I assume that when he's in his hybrid form, kind of like Lucci, he's a little more bloodthirsty. I assume that he takes on the properties of the yokai, so he's more brutal once he, goes into his zone form, I guess. That's my opinion. It might be wrong. I don't know. We'll find out later, maybe. Anyways, he's screaming out to the little Marines, his subordinates, and he's like, "Stop squirming, you pathetic maggots. If I did not wish to be stabbed, I would have simply just dodged." And then his eyes go like zoom, and we hear like a vroom. So it's like kind of like when you hear like a laser, And Bonnie just goes pleh, and she like goes flying backwards, and he catches her, like with his hand, like literally like this. And Sanji, being Sanji, is immediately like, "I gotta fucking save her," and he runs towards Saint Saturn, and he does the same thing again, like a. Or maybe he like smacked him with his cane. I don't know what the hell is going on here. But he just kind of goes flying backwards. And everybody's like, "Sanji!" And then Saint Saturn is like, "Oh, I got a wound, I forgot." And he just takes off his, like, the sword that Bonnie used. And literally his body just starts. I remember last chapter I was like, is Bonnie gonna damage to him or injure him? There's no fucking way. He's a demon now. That's like a scratch to him. There's not even a scratch because I didn't even leave a scratch. He just healed it. And Frankie's like, "Holy shit, his wound disappeared. What the hell?" And we see a bunch of Marines. I assume these are all Commodores, Rear Admirals, Vice Admirals, and they're all running towards where Vegapunk, Frankie, and Sanji are. They're like, "Keep the pressure up on Vegapunk, charge!" And Saturn's like, "Wait up, you fools, what are you doing?" And the Marines don't give a shit. They're just like, "Don't give them an opening. Stay calm." Now, Saint Saturn turns around. It's ironic, now that I think about it. He's a freaking demon, yet they call him Saint. Maybe Luffy is the real demon, and this is a real saint. It's the opposite. Anyway, Saint Saturn turns around, and he's like, "It's unprecedented for you to be so slow in executing an order like this, Kizaru." Kizaru's on the floor like, "Oh, shit, yeah, man, I'm sorry, like, can we give it a minute? I don't think I can get up right now." He's just laying on the floor. And we see Luffy like a little more ways from him. And he's an old man. He's just on the floor laying down like this with his tongue out. And he's kind of like just passed out. And Saint Saturn's like, "Given the circumstances, I can understand this disappointment." Waste no time. His demeanor goes from like already like kind of annoyed to like like pissed off. He's like, "Now then." One of the appendages, like with the claw, like the claw thing that the yokai have, is gonna go down and like just pierce Luffy. Luffy's just like, because he can't move. And Frankie comes to the rescue. "Strong right!" And he punches Luffy. He literally punches him. We see like the side of his face go, and he just goes flying to the left. But as he does that, he grabs Luffy, brings him back. And Saint Saturn's like, interesting. So you're the kind of pirates who stick together. And it's like, dude, they literally went to Enies lobby, declared war, literally took out CP9 for one of their crewmates. I think he should know this by now, that the Straw Hats aren't like any other crew. Because everywhere they see, it's always Straw Hat. Whatever. Anyways, Frankie's like, so even the biggest of the biggest big shots in the world are after our captain's head. That's good to know. And he's kind of just laughing. He's like, ah, and he's just having like a hysterical moment where he's like, I can't believe even you guys are on our captain's head. And he's like squeezing Luffy as he's doing this, and Luffy's like, oh. Now we get more dialogue from Saint Saturn, and he says, Straw Hat Luffy, Jewelry Bonnie, your involvement in this affair was certainly unforeseen. However, the coast has been completely blockaded by our army. It would truly be something special to see you escape from such a hopeless situation. We shall see what fate has in store for you. Now this panel right here, I'm looking at it right now, and there's like the coast of Egghead, and it looks so nice. Now he turns around and he's just going on with these speeches, man. He's like, Vegapunk, your betrayal is a heavy blow. Now remember, York is the one who ratted him out that he was, trying to read up and learn about the poneglyphs and the void history and all that shit, the void century. So that's why he's like, your betrayal is a heavy blow. So that's like a betrayal for them, because nobody's supposed to know that, just them. I am grateful for all you have accomplished for the Navy during your tenure. Now, which one of you is going to die first? Raise your hand. Anybody? Anybody want to die first? How about you, Sanji? You want to die first? It's basically what he's doing. He's like, tell me the cruelest order possible. I want you to die cursing yourself for daring to cross us and the world government. And it's like, god damn. Now, he starts getting more annoyed as he's more talking. As he's saying more and more stuff. It looks like he's starting to get annoyed because this speech right here, I feel like he's starting to get more pissed off. Because he's like, human nature is to blame. Why must people always be tempted by that which has been strictly forbidden? Like, if somebody puts like a label on like this poster right here, and it says don't touch, someone's gonna want to touch it, because it's telling you not to do that. And that's why he's like, this is so fucking annoying. It's human nature. This is why you guys keep doing this shit. He says, why must we always be freaking tempted by doing something that we're not supposed to? And Sanji's like, wait, stop. Why isn't anybody doing anything? And Frankie's like, I can't do anything. I can't move. It feels like something's like holding me down. I can't really move. And Vegapunk brings up something really interesting to like think about. He says, if he isn't using technology, it must be some sort of devil fruit ability. But based on what we've seen from his powers, I feel like he's kind of like Foxy. Because he kind of uses that eye thing, and he makes their movement stop. What if he's like Foxy, and when Foxy would do the slow beam, and that's the only thing he'd do, but he's not strong. What if, since he's a demon, he has the ability to paralyze you? Now, what if like it's something like that, like these guys are kind of terrified of him right now, so they can't move because they're paralyzed with fear? Or what if it is like a devil fruit that allows him to paralyze his targets? Either way, this is really, really interesting. Anyways, they start screaming out like, no, Bonnie, like, fuck. And Bonnie's like, Saturn, you killed my father. And he just gives her like this look, and he's like, you're talking about Kuma. He was born to be a slave. A descendant of people who committed a grave sin against the world. And he's starting to like squeeze her more because he's getting like more annoyed. He's like, a survivor of the now extinct Buccaneer race. Now, would that make Bonnie half Buccaneer? I don't know. This is interesting though, because Vegapunk's reaction is just like he's shocked. And now that's another thing. Is he shocked because of what he said? Because the Gorosair is supposed to know this, but like, is he shocked because he's just blatantly saying this shit out loud? Or why is he shocked? We get Bonnie, right? And she's thinking about her father. And her father is like, Bonnie, when I was a boy, I wanted to be a hero. Someone who could save people from suffering and grant them their freedom. And as she's thinking this, a bunch of Marines are like starting to clock their guns. And they're all like lining up. And we see Saint Saturn. And he lifts up Bonnie. This is Bonnie, and he goes like this. And he's like, all troops aim for her head. We continue the inner dialogue, and Kuma's like, just like the legendary warrior of liberation, Nika. And she's like, Nika? That's right, I've always looked up to him. They say Nika would always come along laughing to this rhythm. And we see such an adorable little panel where it's like little girl Bonnie, like literally little girl, like maybe like 8 years old or something, 7 or I don't know 5, and we see Kuma, and we can see like his hair, and he's like dancing around, and he's doing like the Nika pose, and they're both laughing, having a great time. See, I love this so much right here, and he starts doing like the dun 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 dun, and like the heartbeat for like the drums of liberation and whatnot, and Sanji yells out, Bonnie. His face is like full of desperation. He's just like, fuck, I can't do anything. And he's yelling out like, knock it off. And Vegapunk again says, stop, she's just a kid. Now remember, I mentioned this like 3-4 videos ago. I was like, they keep mentioning that she's a kid. Now why do they keep saying that? So like maybe because he's older than Bonnie, she's a kid to him. Maybe I don't know. She keeps thinking back, and she's like, she tells her father, so am I gonna be freed too? And Kuma smiles and says, of course. Flashback 47 years ago in the South Blue, the kingdom of Sorbet. We hear wah wah wah, congratulations, what a big boy. And we see a mom and a dad, and they're holding their kid's kid's hand. And they're like, oh, I'm so glad to finally meet you. Hi, Kuma. And it's Kuma's father and mother. And he's like, hey, Doc, can you keep it a secret, about the... And the Doc's like, yeah, his blood, I get it, don't worry. Nobody's gonna find out. Now, and then we see the doctor, and he's like running back. And he's like, I'm sorry, Clap, you've got to run. There were government agents in this hospital. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And he's like bawling his eyes out. He's like crying. And it says, just take me. I'm the one with the Buccaneer blood. My wife is normal. Please let her and my son go. Oh, so Kuma's also half. Yeah, but that would still make Bonnie 25%, He's like yelling now. He's crying. I beg you. Now we cut away. Maybe this is like 8 years later. We don't really know. It doesn't tell us. Kuma's father, Kuma's mother, and Kuma. Kuma's around like 8 years old, maybe. I think that's how old he looks right here. And we see Kuma's father has the slave collar, bandaged up, bloodied. He's just like this, where he's just like completely out of it. Now we cut away, and we see 2 celestial dragons. And they're like, wow, this mongrel is a buccaneer? Look at his power, and he's so young. And one of the celestial dragons has like a chain, and it's chained to like the slave collar on Kuma, and Kuma's carrying like a box with like vases and shit. And he's like struggling, he's like walking slow. So the celestial dragon's like, why the fuck are you walking so slow? And he starts whipping him. And Kuma's a kid, so he's just like, that hurts, I'm sorry, like, stop. And he starts crying. And the celestial dragon just whips out a gun, and he's like, stop fucking crying, do you want to die? To a kid. This is how heartless and scumbag these people are. Anyways, we see Kuma's father, and he's like, hey Kuma, how are you holding up? And Kuma's like, fine, daddy. Master's so kind to me. I'm very lucky. Oh my god. And we get this shot where Kuma and his father are kind of just like sitting down, and he's like, I have something to tell you. Mommy has passed away and gone to heaven. Isn't that wonderful? She's in a better place now. And we see his father's face, and he's like crying, and he's bawling his eyes out, but he's kind of like smiling at the same time, because this is like Oda playing with 2 different things here. One, they're slaves, obviously, so like that's a fucking horrible life. 2, his wife literally passed away, so he's fucking sad. 3, she doesn't have to put up with all this torture anymore and all this slave and like bullshit stuff that's happening to them. So he's like, he's crying, but he feels, I don't even know, dude. There's so much emotion in this panel. Like, oh my god. And kind of like when, Luffy lost Ace, that's how Kuma looks here. He's literally destroyed. Like, he's just crying, like, with all his might. He's just crying. And his father says, but Kuma, you're strong. You can survive this. You must be brave and bear it for me. And Kuma says, as a kid, but why? Isn't death so much easier? And it's like, oh my goodness, Oda. And people say One Piece isn't dark. Anyways, Kuma's father is like, the warrior of liberation will come and save you. Kuma's like, who? And he's like, the sun god Nika. And we get a shot of the original sun god. He has like a sword and a spear. I really hope at some point Luffy has a sword and a spear. Imagine he's just fighting with a sword. Kuma's father's like, that name has been passed down through Buccaneer folklore for generations. Nika will come and take you out to sea where you will be under the sun and you'll be free. He's like, and Nika always smiles and the people never fail to laugh when they hear his drum beat. And he starts doing the dum 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 dum. And he's like dancing and making Kuma smile, you know? And then as he's doing dum, gunshot. Falls to the floor. The celestial dragon comes in and shoots Kuma's father. And he's like, shut the fuck up already. And Kuma's face is like, you know, like when you're in shock, when you see something in front of you, you're like, that's his face right now. That's Kuma's face. I would like to assume his father passed away in this moment right here. The last thing he told his son was, believe in Nika. He will come and save you someday. Now, flash forward. This part I did read a little bit, and I'm kind of excited for this part. Flash forward. 38 years ago, the West Blue. Let me put on my... Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Remember, this event only takes place once every 3 years. Don't miss your chance to take part. It's the Native Cleansing Festival. The venue chosen this time is a non-government affiliated country. Then we see like a bunch of like stupid haircuts with bubbles on their head and they're like, yeah! And there's like pedestals with 6 boxes. Now, these boxes kind of look like the box the Gomu Gomu no Mi was in. Now remember, this is 38 years ago, so like, Shanks obviously isn't born yet. That'll be relevant. Because they call it God Valley! And everybody's like, whoa! The blasphemous name was given to the island as it has an abundance of natural resources. Now, they call it blasphemous because they think themselves as gods. So they're like, something being called God Valley and we don't live there? That's fucking blasphemous to us. And we finally see God Valley in all its glory. Well, he goes on and says, the government had just annexed this land so it can be the site of our traditional human hunt. Wait, what? The Cleansing Festival. Remember, when the Gorosei walked up to Im, they said, who shall we cleanse next? Maybe that's just what they call mass murders. We see a dude, and he's like, how selfish can you be? You want to slaughter our citizens for sport? Have you lost your damn minds? This is our country. Get the fuck out. And then we see someone just, and they just cut him down. His crown falls off, and they're like, my lord. So God Valley was an actual place where people lived at. It wasn't just like celestial dragons that wanna... People actually live there. And every 3 years, they do this bullshit thing where they go kill people for fun. Now, they say, oh my, hold your horses, Saint Garling. You've gone and started before the buzzer. And like a bunch of Marines are laughing like, ah, or a bunch of Celestial Dragons, I mean. And then those same Celestial Dragons that were laughing, I don't know if it's like girl Celestial Dragons or guys, but they're like in the back like, oh my god, he's so dreamy. And then the announcer dude's like, in a shocking twist, the king of the natives has already been slain! As a penalty for starting the hunt so early, St. Garling shall be docked 10,000 points! What a blow for one of the predicted frontrunners! And we finally see a young Shanks. I mean, a young St. Garling. Now, Shanks is what, 38 years old, 39? We're in God Valley now. St. Garling is here. Do you know what this means? We're getting close to Rock Steezy Beck, Roger, Garp, Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom. Bro, all these people were on this island at one point. Now, think about this as well. Well, in the manga, it was like chapter 430, something like that, 440. Anyways, this is when Shanks walks up to Whitebeard and he's gonna warn him about, you know, like Blackbeard. And he's like, here, I brought you this sake, you know, and he's like, Whitebeard says, just looking at your face makes my aches wound. What if he gave Whitebeard those wounds? And this chapter came out in what, like 2007? And this comes out 2023. Oh my gosh, Oda. You really had him planned out since 2007 or 6 or whatever the fuck that chapter came out. That is insane. Now we get his formal introduction again as a young God's Knight, Saint Figurlin Garling. Anyways, we could talk about that some other time. I kind of ranted a little bit, but let's continue with the chapter. To spruce up the proceedings, we have arranged to add some additional game to be hunted down alongside the natives. These slaves are all notorious troublemakers and sinners. Once they're released, we'll chase them down like wild rabbits. And we also see Saint Saturn there. And like a dude like in a hat, like a CP9 type outfit, says, "Sir, we just got word that we tracked down the child who tried escaping. It's the Buccaneer brat." And then we see like, I think it's normal people, and they're like, "Trying to run away? How selfish can you get? They put us into groups of 10 for collective punishment, you know? If you got away, the rest of us would have been killed." And Kuma's like on the floor like, now, final page of the chapter. We hear, hee-haw! Vaydub, or however the fuck he talks. "So you are the star of this farce. A Buccaneer, no wonder. You carry the blood of giants in you." And we see Slave Emporio Ivankov and Slave Guinea. So these guys were also slaves of the Celestial Dragons. Did we know that he was a slave? I don't think we did, right? This is actually shocking to me. I didn't picture this. Anyway, Guinea's like this like girl like with short hair. She's like missing a tooth, but she's like eating a piece of meat. She's like, ah. Anyway, she's like, "Big bro here is pretty big himself, don't you think? The only thing big about me is my head." Not. Now listen, you morons. Why do you have hopeless looks glued to your faces? I, for one, want to live. Well, what are you going to do? End of chapter. Break next week. Meeting an unexpected duo in this hellish existence. Wow, dude. This chapter, man. This is crazy. I have to make a follow-up video this upcoming week. I don't know when I'm going to upload this. Maybe Saturday, maybe Friday. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think, because this chapter was awesome. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.